you are, David.
I'm David. I'm David Bean. And Judge Redden, the judge that has said over 20 years that the salmon plans with those Snake River dams were just not good enough for salmon to survive. Through those solar heated pools over time, and now he is retired at 82. Is that working long enough to behold the Constitution that grants the right to speedy trial? You gotta smile. So now I'm going to give you my most memorable poem, and it's universal. It's called Too Much Wasabi. I cry.
Steve Schoonmaker, Sea-Loft, Alaska. I got a short one from the Anchored in Deep Water anthology. It's called Deposit. What of human investments? What do they mean? And what are the gifts that come in from the streams? And our human economies, what do they mean to biology's truth at the bank of the streams? That returns nursery in its link to the sea, where if just left alone, continuance would be. But of gifts are for taking, for the eagles in the trees, for the gulls and the sandbars, for the stakeholders' needs, with our minds about budget that can live beyond means. If giving is what gives, then what gives is the streams. Unless giving is giving by just letting be, by humans grown conscious, by take scarcity. Our human economies, what do they mean? Concern these matters at the banks of the streams, where deposits are made and then left to grow for the gifts of the salmon and the life they can know. It's this gift of themselves that's biology's truth. Let's give salmon deposits, yes, given from you. Yes, and given from me, conscious of truth. For continuance to be, no more blaming to do. For continuance to be, it's now past due. I love salmon.
Doreen, I don't want to waste any minutes. Who heard my spring poem this weekend? Good, not too many, I'll do it again. I've lived in many places, I've traveled over the world. I've seen many wonderful things, but nothing compares to the excitement and the feeling of energy in the air that I felt when I was young and I lived in a little Alaska town in the spring. I live in Oregon now. Spring comes gently, baby lambs, the smell of fresh grass, gentle rain on my skin. Primroses appear, red, purple, yellow, and wild rhododendrons everywhere as the earth comes quietly alive. But once I lived in Alaska, in a fishing town. Spring is different there. The smells, the colors, no green grass, only gravel everywhere. First come the icy winds, then the rains whipping down the glaciers through the town. Get out the full dress rain gear, it's going to be a wet one today. Snow begins to melt with an energy you can feel. The sounds of sandhill cranes, the geese flying north, outboards in the harbor, the smell of engines, gasoline, and oil fumes. On the docks, men heaving nets onto their boats. The surest sign of spring, the coffee shop, crowded with fishermen, rumors flying concerning the weather, the season, the price of fish, the town coming alive. I miss it. No red and purple primroses, only gray pussy willows. No gentle rains, only howling gales. No baby lambs, only fish spawning in the bay. I miss it.
The Princess and the Bird.
I hate waking up in a panic. I was 28, a brand new skipper with a new loan and an old boat. All to be paid off, one fish at a time. I needed to keep fishing. But night sets, oh, the predicaments you can wake up in. The possibilities are endless. I was drifting and dreaming, with visions of sockeyes dancing in my head when I was jolted out of my slumber by Lenny calling me on the VHF. Pickett, wake up. There's a cruise ship coming around the corner in College Fjords. A cruise ship? What do I care? I'm fishing. I have the right of way. He'll go around. I don't answer. I don't even get out of my bunk. A few minutes later, Pickett, wake up. There's a cruise ship coming. I peek out of my stern window from my bunk through squinting eyes into the morning 4 a.m. sun, and sure enough, there's a cruise ship heading right for me. My heart sinks as a spike of adrenaline pulses through me. I spring out of the bunk, fire up the engine, and hop into my rain gear that I keep fireman style for occasions such as this. There's no time to call this guy on the radio. There's no time for him to change course, let alone stop. There's no time to let the engine warm up. I turn on my hydros and go out on deck. I feel the cold, crisp air of Prince William Sound slap my cheeks. I start reeling my net and picking fish as fast as I can. And I don't say this very often, but luckily it wasn't too good of a set. Then I realize there's no time to pick fish. I just start drumming everything aboard my bow picker. I look up over my cabin and straight up to the bow of this cruise ship. This wasn't a little Phillips day cruiser. This was a 1,200-foot long, 250-foot tall wall of steel heading straight for me at 22 knots. I bump up my hydros and put the boat in reverse so the net will tighten and fit on the drum, hopefully. And for a moment, time stops. And I think, really? This is it? This is how I go. I don't get the privilege of being taken by a wave in Kokahini, the most dangerous bar on the Copper, like so many great fishermen before me. I end up getting splattered like a bug on the bow of this tacky-ass cruise ship with a rainbow of happy colors on the side and the word princess. No, I want a more honorable death. I rev up the engine and bump up the hydros again. I've been out on deck about 5 minutes and this giant wall of metal is getting bigger and bigger, closer and closer. There's no question left in my mind. I am dead center in its path. If I don't get out of the way, I will be run over. My hydros are screaming and I hope I don't blow a hose. Water, jellyfish, blood, slime, seaweed flying everywhere. Fish are smacking the deck as they go around my drum. Thud, thud, thud. Oh, there's a king. It's got cherry belly. I grab my knife, prepared to cut my net free. I don't really want to do this. These nets are expensive and this is the only one I have. But I'm running out of options. And then, all of a sudden, bang! My end buoy hits the deck with a thud. It bounces aboard like a basketball and over my net. My net's in, but I'm still in its path. I rush into the cabin and turn off the hydros and think I really need to get that damn hydro switch fixed. I race back out on deck. I turn the wheel hard to port and throttle is down as far as she will go. My diesel engine roars to life and I feel the bow rise up as the stern squats down as she picks up speed. As soon as I get my boat turned around, I take it out of gear and I'm climbing up a 6-foot wave, the bow wake, and then a 5-footer, a 4-footer, a 3-footer, each wave smaller than the last. The adrenaline drains from my body as my hot tears drain down my eyes and run down my cold cheeks. My legs turn to rubber. My knees give out and I sit on my fish hole and I cry. Through blurry eyes, I see this giant white wall about 100 feet from me, and it fills my entire field of vision. The playful colors on the side of the ship mock me. I see a passenger having breakfast. She waves at me. And though I know it's not her fault, I am not as happy to see her as she is to see me. But there is only one way I can think to communicate this. So I raised my right glove and gave that princess the bird.
Those of you guys who ever ever trolled, well, whatever you've done, you've used codes, probably, in the old days. Can you hear me back there? Well, I'm just gonna yell as loud as I can then, all right? So we would always take a 10-letter word, non-repeating, like Republican. R is 1, E is 2, so, you know, so on and so forth. If you have, another one was ultrasonic, 10-letter, non-repeating word. So if you had a uniform Lima Tango, that's 123 fish. So, you know, that's what you'd throw out there like that. And this is about when I first started trolling out of Sitcom down at Bjork Island in a little circle drag down there, not catching much anything. And I hear a guy on the radio coding to his partner, and this one's called Oscar November Echo. Oscar November Echo, crackled the radio, obviously in a code. A 3-digit number. He must have hit the mother lode. Guys around him weren't doing that well. How could he have us all beat? Oscar November Echo. Damn, I wish I had his code sheet. I went out, changed all my hoochies. I heard a jimmy and took a look, and there was Mr. Oscar November Echo heading in to drop the hook. My whole day's catch was just a dab of fish. I had oh so much to learn. I saw Oscar November Echo at anchor, and I slid up to his stern. How'd you catch so many fish, I asked, as politely as I could be. He laughed and said, it's not that many. It stands for O-N-E.
Philip Patton. This is it's time for a downer. It's not, downers aren't funny. Things in 2 parts. Things which don't float. A plank drifts just off my beach. I rent a little beach cabin in West Seattle. Has for a week fishing boat white, striped with the marks of ribs 20 feet long. Bowed with the fair curve of hull, twisted from near vertical amidships to overhang of bow. For a while, I imagined I would find it beached at low tide, would read a familiar name in the tops of letters near one end. I imagined an old friend had returned, drifted 900 miles south, as so much does return to many of our shores. I imagined strapping it to my truck, returning it to its skipper. I bought him a table dance at Chillicum, Charlie's, that's Ketchikan, to try to distract him. The day after we watched her mast light slide under waves, but he had to leave, tears behind eyes. That's the first half. Second half, things that don't float too. Then science kicked in. Reality defeats fantasy. When wood sinks to 60 fathoms, it becomes pressure treated, of course. 160 pounds per square inch, driving salt water into every pore, driving salt through the grain of wood, slowly compressing what air is trapped within to less than 1/10 its surface volume, 1/10 its buoyancy, insufficient without help to ever float again. Thank you.